Right now, from KTAB News, your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics.
Thanks for being here for Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo, and we start our broadcast with our Eye on Texas. The special session of the Texas Legislature has been anything but normal, and it led to a walkout by Democrats. The Dems fleeing to Washington, D.C. this last week to sidetrack two Republican-backed election integrity bills. The Texas Democrats meeting with members of Congress and pushing for movement on two federal election bills that have stalled. KTAB's Washington Bureau correspondent Anna Warnicki has been following this.
Texas Democratic lawmakers spent Wednesday lobbying on Capitol Hill.
We're here working. We're going to make sure that Congress understands that we want the John Lewis Act or the For the People Act.
In a meeting with Texas Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar, State Senator Roland Gutierrez said if Congress passes the For the People Act, it would create national standards for voting that would roll back some of the restrictions popping up in Republican-led states, including Texas.
Here we are, surrounded by the Texan freedom fighters, defenders of the Constitution.
Another group of Texans were across the Capitol meeting with the bill's lead sponsors.
The assault on the right to vote isn't just a Texan challenge. It's under assault in state after state after state.
The For the People Act is about ensuring the freedom of people to vote, getting dark money out of politics, and making sure that there are ethical standards that politicians have to live up to.
The House passed the bill in March, but has since stalled in the Senate after Democrats fell short of the 60-vote threshold to overcome a Republican filibuster.
Republicans are saying no to everything that we want to work on.
But while the Texans continue to make their rounds across the Capitol, Republicans, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, say the entire trip is just for show.
To snap selfies, bask in the limelight, and beg Senate Democrats to take over Texas elections.
In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
And later in the show, Dr. Paul Fabrizio, McMurray political science professor, is standing by to talk all about this. All right, moving on to our Eye on Abilene. If you live in Abilene, your water bill is going to start going up in October, and the next 5 years, your monthly bill will continue to increase just under a 50% increase by 2026. At the last city council meeting, the 5-year rate increase was approved by the city council that will pay for 3 improvement plans costing more than $400 million. Council members were clear that action needs to be taken on our aging infrastructure. KTAB's Marley Capper breaks down the price hikes and where all the money will be spent.
We are increasing our rates at a higher rate year to year than the current plan is.
So residents who use about 5,000 gallons of water currently pay about $56 a month for their bill. With the new rate structure, the same resident would now be paying $81.75 for the same amount of water.
So they can control some of what they pay each month by just managing the amount of water they use.
As a part of the new rate structure.
Part of that was dropping off the Ivy charge that customers see on their water bills right now.
The Ivy charge is a 60-cent charge that has been used to generate revenue for the current bond project to build the Lake Ivy Reservoir.
We have collected through about $3.5 million a year sufficient funds through that fee to cover the debt service for all of the debt related to that project.
Director of Water Utility Rodney Taylor says increasing the current rate charge structure will allow them to pay for a new 3-tier master plan.
The first is the water treatment plan, making sure that we have clean water. Next is the wastewater collection master plan, improving the ability to collect water after it rains. And finally, the water distribution master plan to accommodate future growth in Abilene.
Costing $407 million over the next 30 years.
We're using what I will call a year-to-year increase, an incline that is about 8%.
So, by charging you more each month for the next 5 years, they can put funds into the cash reserve to start the most important projects first.
Avoiding new debt service for projects planned over the coming year.
Taylor says with aging infrastructure,
the most manageable way to handle it and having the least impact on customers.
It's important for them to make these improvements now. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on. Marley Capper, KTAB News.
And Rodney Taylor predicts the cost will rise for the next 5 years, flatten out through 2035, and then ease down slightly, ending in 2050. All right, staying in Abilene, it was supposed to be a routine Abilene Parks Board meeting this last week, but at times it became heated. Citizens and staff dueling over improvements to Sears Park. KTAB's Mercedes Hernandez was there and brings us a recap of the issues residents feel passionate about ahead of the City Council's budget workshop later this month.
Early on at Tuesday's Parks and Rec meeting were some strong voices at this gathering at Sears Park.
Between you, the board, and the council, we're not getting anywhere.
Locals made several grievances about the city's responsibility for maintaining park facilities like the baseball diamond at Sears and the priorities of getting parks projects finished.
Concession stand has a lot of issues inside.
The city council does not represent the citizens that are showing up at these kinds of meetings.
The lighting's not great over there. Y'all planning on upgrading that lighting on that side?
Though occasionally intense, Leslie Andrews, Director of Community Services, says meetings such as this are important to hear out the concerns of residents.
Even if it's only a handful of people, hearing people who take the time and really care, that want to come and express, it's important for staff to hear that.
City leaders like Councilman Billy Enriquez also in attendance, sharing concerns as well.
Gazebos, if we could have a couple more of the small, not the big ones, but the small gazebos.
Another suggestion thrown out at Tuesday's meeting included adding another basketball court without affecting the active tennis courts here, but ultimately improving this cracked walking trail here at Sears Park.
The track spans across the whole park, and the proposal before the council would replace the current asphalt track with a concrete one, says Andrews.
Last year there was a lot of conversation about wanting to replace the walking trail. There is a process to be able to do that.
Attendees of Tuesday's meeting had a lot to say. Their thoughts now scratched on notepads for the city's future consideration. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Mercedes Hernandez, KTAB News.
And the City Council's budget workshop is set to start on July 27th. All right, coming up on Big Country Politics, a lot going on Texas politics. A conversation with McMurray political science professor Dr. Paul Fabrizio. We're back in 2 minutes.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, welcome back to Big Country Politics, and joining us once again is Dr. Paul Fabrizio. He's a McMurray political science professor. Thank you for being here once again on the show.
It's good to be here.
Been a little over a month since we had you.
Yes, so I'm glad to be back.
Well, thank you for being here.
Exciting times here.
It is, and what's the first thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is the walkout to break a quorum. And that way, I guess they don't have to vote on this bill that is going to restructure voting rights, I guess. I mean, it's, first of all, how do you refer to this bill? If you refer to it the way that Democrats are referring to it, they had every reason to walk out.
Right, you call it a voter suppression
bill, yeah.
If you look at it from the Republican perspective, it's a voter rights bill, and it's going to expand voter rights. Now, how can two sides look at the same thing, the same words, and come up with two different impressions? And that's really the question. And the reality is we're divided so politically that even intention matters. It differs between both sides.
Well, intention and even the way, like you started, even the way you refer to the bill, I mean, it's maybe a little frustrating for both sides. If you refer to the bill as a voter suppression bill, right off the top, I mean, if you're not looking into it, if you're not doing your homework, you just think it's a voter suppression bill, right?
And when you actually get into the words of it, it's really hard to see voter suppression. But, and this is a big but, the consequence of some of those things will probably suppress some voters. It'll make it harder for some people to vote. And what we need to remember in Texas is actually, voting in Texas is actually easy for most of us. Probably about 90% of the population has no trouble getting ID, has no trouble making it to go to the voting place when there's voting, or can do early voting. That's not a big deal. But those people at the margins, those people who work crazy hours, those people who work overnight, who sleep during the day, those people who are elderly, those people who are disabled, they're not going to benefit from this bill. And so who in fact benefits from those people not voting? Turns out the Republicans do. At least that's the belief. So therefore they're instituting this bill that won't affect most of us, with the idea that it'll be harder for certain population groups. And because of that, the Democrats are saying, those are our voters. You're messing with our voters. Quit doing that. So that's what this fight is about.
Was there evidence of voter suppression, voter fraud at all in the last? I mean, there always is, but
right. Well, we need to be careful. Voter suppression is one thing. Voter fraud is something else.
Voter fraud. Was there any?
Yeah, and there are individual examples of voter fraud. And a man was just indicted last Friday by the state of Texas, by Attorney General Ken Paxton, for illegally voting. It turned out he shouldn't have, because he had a criminal record. Okay? That is actually common. That happens all the time. And occasionally people vote twice. Occasionally there's examples of what is called ballot harvesting, where someone goes like to a nursing home and collects ballots from people who are there and then fills them in the way that the ballot harvester wants to, rather than the people in the nursing home. Those happen, okay? Texas actually has a pretty rich history of that. But in terms of the widespread voter fraud that's been alleged by former President Trump and Republicans, there is no evidence of that. What we're talking about is fraud in the ones and twos rather than the tens and 20,000s that are alleged. So voter fraud takes place, but it doesn't happen that much.
Let's talk about the goal that Democrats are trying to reach. What's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is just to never vote on this, so it never gets passed. What's the goal? What's the end goal?
In terms of the specific legislation, the Democrats' goal is to never have a vote on it. Okay? The question is, how do you achieve that then? And unfortunately for them, they're in the minority. So what do? They have chosen to run and to leave the state. And I guess, and see, this is one of the things where I'm not sure they've figured out the strategy. Their tactic is short term. They're going to be gone for this special session. Well, the governor says he's going to call another
second special session.
So what's the Democratic, what are they going to do then? What's their plan?
So I think a lot of people are asking this question, or at least in their minds, at least I am. Okay, you are elected to make these hard decisions, and you vote on these tough decisions. And voting is just that. It's voting. It's more people vote for this, less people vote for this, and that's the job that we send them over there to do. And it's a hard decision, and you vote on it, and you go with the results, and that's what democracy is. I mean, shouldn't that be the way it works?
Instead of cutting and running?
Instead of cutting and running. I mean, you just make the hard decisions. That's what we send them there to do. Right? I mean,
that is one argument. Another argument is that we send our representatives to represent us. And if they're going to be steamrolled by the Republicans, and the numbers indicate that they will be steamrolled, then what do you do to stop legislation that you don't want to see happen? And so, unfortunately, I think it's becoming more common, not just here in Texas, but in other states as well. Oregon stands out as a prime example, where the party on the losing side says, I'm not going to vote, I'm going to leave. I'm going to prevent the legislature from actually conducting any business at all. I'm going to deny them a quorum. And so that's what's taking place. It is an old legislative trick. The Constitution anticipated this by giving the Sergeant at Arms, and I'm talking about the U.S. Constitution, giving the Sergeant at Arms the power to go and arrest members to bring them back. And in the Texas legislature, lo and behold, the Sergeant at Arms has now been authorized to go and arrest members and bring them back. This is an old trick, not common, but it's been around for a long time.
When we come back, there's a couple of other things that I want to get to. First of all, are they going to go through with this plan to arrest Democrats who are in Washington, right? I mean, is this, like you said when we were talking before the show, is this all political theater? We're going to talk about that when we come back here on Big Country Politics with Dr. Paul Fabrizio.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, welcome back to Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo. We're joined by Dr. Paul Fabrizio, political science professor at McMurray University. We're talking about what everybody's talking about right now, not only in Texas, but this obviously has made national news. The walkout of the Democrats of the special session, and all to not vote on this voter suppression bill or voter
rights bill, depending on how you want to characterize it.
Exactly, and depending on, I hate to say it, who you're watching. I mean, when they introduce a story that's going to have to do with this, you can almost tell how it's going to go by how they introduce the story. Do they introduce it as a voter suppression bill or a voter rights bill?
Right. And I think the way I like to look at this is political theater. Okay, on the Republican side, the governor's running for re-election next year, and the governor faces strong challengers from the right side of the Republican Party. So real conservatives are going after him. So the governor needs to act tough. Also, this allows the governor not to talk about the energy situation, which did not go well in February here in Texas. So we can focus on this. So this gives the governor a political edge over his opponents in the Republican primary next March. On the Democratic side, they also are engaged in political theater. They flew to Washington, D.C. when they ran off. Okay? They did that so they can meet with national politicians, work towards a bill that the Democrats are trying to push, but they don't have the votes for, so they can get there and they can get the attention of the national political press. And so far they've succeeded in that. However, we're talking about it today. Will we still be talking about it in 2 weeks? Okay? Will the Democrats in Washington still care that the Texas Democratic legislators are still in Washington, D.C.? You know, well, it's like, oh, your yesterday's story. We're going to move on. There's other things we need to focus on. So the Democrats from Texas took a real gamble to go to D.C. Will it play out? Will it still work for their advantage in a couple weeks?
Well, and so you said something at the beginning of that this is also working in the Republicans' favor because it's taking attention off of other things. Yes. For instance, the energy. And this has created such a vacuum.
Yes.
That all those things are
well, nothing else can happen in the legislature. The Texas Senate has a quorum. They can still pass bills, but it has to go through the House. House can't do anything. One of the things that the Republicans very cleverly put into the special session is a 13th paycheck for teacher retirees. And that needs to be authorized by the legislature. Well, the legislature isn't meeting. So I guarantee you the Republicans are going to say that the Democrats are anti-teacher. They're anti-teacher retirees because they're not voting right now. So this could backfire against the Republicans.
This is one of the bills that is caught up in all of the chaos over there.
Exactly. The governor went in with an agenda, I think, of 11 different items that he said we have to work on. And right now they can't work on any.
And nobody's talking about those other items, by the way. Because everybody's talking about the Democrats over in Washington.
Well, they are passing them in the Texas Senate.
In the Senate.
But who cares? Because it has to go through the House. And a third of the House is in Washington, D.C. So, now, you brought up something earlier I want to bring up real quickly.
Okay.
I used the word arrest. Okay, Sergeant at Arms. Can he actually arrest these members? Yes.
And will they?
If they can get them, they will. But it's a civil thing, not a criminal thing. No one's going to jail. But they will have the power, if necessary, to handcuff them and bring them back to the state house.
Talk about political theater.
Yeah, oh, you better believe it. Think of it. Members of the Texas House coming back with their hands handcuffed behind them.
Oh my goodness, the video of that.
Yeah, the video of that, is that something you want to see? Do the Republicans really want to go there? The Democrats, in a certain sense, probably say, hey, it might actually help us. Because remember, this is not really about right now. This is about the election next year and then the election 2 years after that. So if it's helping in their fundraising, everybody's going to say, yeah, we're doing the right thing. If their fundraising falls apart, it's a different thing.
And by the way, the Democrats out in Washington, the stalling of the special session, I mean, it's affecting local governments. I'm watching Taylor County Commissioner's Court budget hearings. They're in the middle of those right now. The district attorney got up and was talking to the Taylor County Commissioners, and he's actually waiting on a couple of bills that will go through the special session that he hasn't, doesn't know which way it's going. So it's affecting local governments as well.
Right. Now, we need to keep in mind that the governor has the right to call another special session. I believe this one's over August 6th, so August 7th, we could be back at it again. Will the Democrats then be able to adopt the same tactic of going? I mean, can they do that? Because you think about it, a lot of them are young, a lot of them have families, school starts in August. Are they really going to want to be away when these things happen? One member apparently was supposed to get married. That wedding has been delayed. Many of them have elderly parents they've got to take care of. They have jobs. How long are they really going to stay away?
Speaking of money, who's paying for this? There's a big article in the Texas Tribune that we were talking about who's paying for this. Caucuses, apparently.
Yes. Yeah, political caucuses. Beto O'Rourke.
They're going to wrap us up in a minute. We're just going to keep talking until they go to commercial.
Beto O'Rourke, Willie Nelson have engaged in fundraising to help the Democrats. It's costing about $10,000 a day for the Democrats in Washington, D.C. to stay in the hotel and eat.
They're wrapping us up.
Okay.
Dr. Paul Fabrizio, thank you very much for being here, political science professor with McMurray University. We'll be back on Big Country Politics.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
And that does it for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. Remember, for the latest political headlines, always go to bigcountryhomepage.com, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks for watching.